Hi everyone and welcome back. Today I'm sharing with you a Christmas recipe for peppermint bark. This is a great edible gift to give to your work colleagues, friends at school or anyone else. It's really simple to make, but it's delicious and festive, so let's get started. Peppermint bark is essentially chocolate topped with candy canes. Start off by chopping your white chocolate into smaller pieces. I always just buy the blocks of chocolate, but if you would rather, you can use chocolate chips. Just make sure they are actual chocolate. A lot of times they are chocolate compound, which doesn't actually contain the cocoa butter. In small amounts you don't notice it too much, but for this recipe make sure you get the real thing. Once the chocolate is in smaller pieces, transfer it into a heat-proof bowl. You can either melt this in the microwave or over a double boiler. While the chocolate is beginning to melt, we can prepare the tin. I'm covering it in a layer of foil, so once the peppermint bark has completely set, I can easily just pull it out. Alternatively, you can just pour the chocolate onto a baking sheet topped with baking paper. It won't be as uniform, but it will still look great. Stir the chocolate around to make sure it's melting evenly. When it is completely smooth, we're going to add a couple of teaspoons of flavourless oil, like canola. Stay away from olive oil as its flavour is far too strong. The oil makes the chocolate glossy and also thins it out, so when it comes time for cutting or breaking it up, it's a lot easier. Stir the oil in until well combined with the chocolate. I'm making 3 layers of chocolate, 2 of white and 1 of dark, so I'm going to use 2/3 of the chocolate now and leave the last third for the top. Either pour it into the prepared tin or use a spoon or ladle. Shake it side to side to make sure it is even and place it into the fridge to harden up. While it is heating up, we can get started on the dark chocolate. Cut it up into smaller pieces. This just helps it melt a lot easier, and place all of the chocolate into a bowl. Using the same saucepan as before, make sure the water is boiling. Place the bowl of chocolate over the top and turn it off. While waiting for the dark chocolate to melt, I'm going to crush up some candy canes. Make sure these are all unwrapped and place them into a plastic bag. This part is great stress relief. Either use a rolling pin or something heavy with a flat base like a fry pan and begin to smash up the candy canes. They should start to break up into smaller pieces. A good variety of sizes is great, some bigger pieces and some smaller pieces. Pour the crushed candy canes out into a bowl. Once the dark chocolate is fully melted, pour in a teaspoon of oil and mix together. I've used less oil for the dark chocolate as I'm not using as much chocolate. The white chocolate in the tin should have hardened by now, so pour in the dark chocolate over the top and tip around to make sure that the white chocolate is completely coated. Place back into the fridge to set. The white chocolate from earlier should still be melted, but if it has begun to harden up, just place it back over the hot water for a few minutes. Pour it over the set dark chocolate, turning the tin to make sure it's evenly covered. While the white chocolate is still melted, take handfuls of the crushed candy canes and sprinkle it over the chocolate. It should sink in, so when the white chocolate has set, it will stay in place. Place the peppermint bark into the fridge for at least 15 minutes to make sure all the chocolate is completely set. When the peppermint bark has set, lift up the foil and remove it from the tin. Place the bark on a chopping board and either break it into smaller pieces or use a hot knife to cut it. It's quite rich, so don't make the pieces too big. If you would like to give it as a gift, wrap it up in cellophane and tie a bow at the top. This peppermint bark will last in the fridge for a few weeks. I hope you enjoyed this video. For more Christmas recipes, take a look at these mini gingerbread houses. Thank you for watching and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!